Everyone focuses on training harder. But what if I told you my secret weapon isn't just in my training? It's food. Let me show you why what you eat is just as important as how you train. The types of racing I mainly do are the Ironman and the half Ironman distances, which are respectively the 140.6 mile race and the 70.3 mile race, where you swim, bike, and run. For me, this ranges anywhere from 3 hours and 50 minutes to a 9-hour, 15-minute race. Today, we have technologies like this smartwatch, which tracks your calories. We have heart rate straps, and we have various calculations for these companies to track how much calories you're burning. Looking back at my 2024 Ironman Texas, here were the amount of calories I burned on that day. Started out with a 3.8 kilometer swim, completed in 48 minutes. I burned 406 calories. Hopped on the bike for 112 miles, completed that in less than 5 hours, 4,054 calories. Put on my run shoes and ran a full marathon, and that burned 2,690 calories. Now that's not counting the transition time where I go from swim, running to get onto my bike, and then getting off my bike, running to get my shoes on, and going out the transition area. So probably around 7,500 calories were burned in that race for me, including walking to and from the race venue and time relaxing after the race. I probably burned more than 8,000 calories on that day. And that is a lot of calories burned. If I tried to do that just drinking water and not eating any calories, not consuming any food, it'd probably be impossible. I'm here with my friend Evan, where he's going to do his last long day before 70.3 at Distill Island next weekend. He has a 4-hour bike ride into a 10-mile run, and I'm going to ask him a couple questions on what his nutrition plan is for his training on to this day, and what his nutrition plan is for the race, and kind of go over what the overall cycling and triathlon industry, how everyone is feeling for the races, and get an insight on what everyone's doing in the professional field. What's the difference in nutrition 20 years ago versus now?
Yeah, I'd even say it's almost 10 years ago now. Like, even when I've been in the sport, when I was starting the sport, I did a lot of bike racing too. And I remember we used to go on endurance rides where for 4 or 5 hours we would try to not eat and we would just only drink water. And it was like this kind of badge of honor to see, like, oh, how long can you go without eating, and training your fat metabolism is what we thought we were doing. And there's a lot of debate around that now, and I'm not a nutritionist, but being around that world for long enough, I realized the cycling world is completely flipped on its head, and now you see guys of just fueling crazy amounts. Like, for example, I was hearing stats where before the final climb, during like the Tour or even the Vuelta or the Giro, bigger stage races, if they have a climb at the end, they'll try to take down as many carbs as they can get in. So they'll lean into the climb the last 30 minutes, they'll take in 100 grams just like that. Like slam gels, drink, any sugar they can get their hands on. I think that 120 used to be what we thought was the ceiling, 120 grams of carbs per hour. But they're getting really creative now with mixes of glucose and fructose. And we're realizing that your receptors don't fatigue out as much if you mix between those two fuel choices. So guys can go well north of 120. I heard a couple guys in Michigan 73 talking about they're in between 160 to 180 grams per hour. There are guys really pushing the limits of it, and I think it's because we're starting to find out that if your gut can tolerate it, you can keep your muscle glycogen stores pretty topped off for long efforts. So if you train it correctly and you bump it up slowly over time, everybody might have a limit at some point just with what your body can do. But it's very beneficial if you can take in more grams of carbs over longer efforts.
I've made a ton of mistakes in the past where I've had 25 to 30 hours of workouts per week, but I was not properly fueling my workouts and eating enough throughout the day. This led to injury, having low energy throughout the day, and slowed my progress. At this point, I was not overtraining, but instead, I was under-recovering. I found out that if you place recovery in a low priority list, you will suffer. Things like stretching after workouts, getting a good night's sleep, at least 8 hours for adults, and eating enough calories throughout the day so you're not in a huge calorie deficit. Those times where I did not hit my key workout session and I struggled a lot, low in energy, low in self-esteem, I just didn't have a good time. So I have to stop making these mistakes, start feeling right for each session and every day, I can't be afraid to eat a lot so I can train a lot at an intense level. So based on the triathletes that I've been in contact with and I know very well, it seems like a lot of people are upping their carbs, upping their calories per hour. Now to do this in races, you have to do this in training. What I learned is trying different products, like different nutrition from different brands, and trying 60 grams of carbs per hour and see how that feels in my stomach. Do that for easy session, medium session, and very intense sessions, and then work my way up to 3 hours, 4 hours, sticking to that 60 grams of carbs per hour. And when I feel good, try upping it to 70, 75 grams, and then 80, 100 grams, 120 grams, still like mixing in gels, a waffle, a granola bar, fruit snacks, all sorts of carbs. You do want to mix it up. You don't want to have one single source of carbs. I've gotten to the point where I tried different nutrition and I've tried them throughout the season. I noticed in the summer when it's very hot, very humid, I cannot take in 120 grams of carbs per hour. So of course I would have to drink more water. I'm sweating out a lot more liquid and I have to take in a little bit less because it kind of upsets my stomach. And in the winter, if I'm training very intensely and my heart rate's going to almost 200 beats per minute and I'm pushing it, and I can really take in a lot of calories per hour. And I've sort of taken a mental note on what kind of scenarios, what kind of environment I'm in, and what kind of intensity the workout's called for, that I know what I should be taking in per hour. Even if it's a 30-minute easy session, just taking in 40 grams of carbs for that. I know what I need to put in my body in order to perform at its best and to train and to recover for the next session. So that's something to think about if you're looking to up your nutrition level and eat more during training, have that protein shake and all that. Now let's talk about losing weight. I'm not a certified nutritionist or anything, but I can tell some experiences on when I was trying to lose weight in swimming and last year in triathlon. If you're looking to lose weight, I would always go into each session fueling. I would never fast into a workout. This means taking calories during a session, and what I always did was eat something before my session, even at 5 a.m. I did this because after I work out, I wouldn't be as hungry. If I didn't do this, if I just drank water and had no calories, I would feel more hungry and eat more and kind of ruin my calorie deficit day. Then after my workout, getting the protein shake, I try to hit my 150 grams of protein a day because I weigh 150 pounds, so I want to try to hit that every single day. If you don't have a smartwatch, I would recommend getting one and wearing it all day. So keep track of your active workout calorie burning and how much you're burning just from sitting around. With that and keeping track of how much food you're eating, you want to aim for about like 200, 300 calories per day of deficit, not a huge gap. If you do this consistently, within time, you'll see a difference. So that's my experience with trying to lose weight, but I still want to make sure I'm eating properly throughout the day. In the end, training is only half the battle. What you eat determines how hard you can train and ultimately how fast you can go. Nutrition is the one thing I will never overlook again. Now keep eating, keep training, and keep getting faster.